So for recording purposes, today we are doing proportionality. Let's move here on to the first slide. So you're going to be hearing two major phrases when you're doing this topic. The questions are either going to be directly proportional, keyword directly, and the opposite of directly proportional is indirectly proportional. Don't take down anything as yet. Let me explain everything and I'll give you some time to take it down. So usually when you have a graph, right? We all know a graph has an X and a Y axis. So, this is the Y axis, this is the X axis. The same thing for an indirectly proportional graph, right? It must have a Y axis and an X axis. But you really don't have to call it Y and X. You could call it basically anything in the world. It's just one has to be vertical and one has to be horizontal. Now, if they state the question like this, A is directly proportional to B. And notice the letter A comes first and B comes second. The first letter, this always represent the y-axis. Always, no matter what. The first letter is always the values on the y-axis, which means the second letter will always be the x-axis, right? So I'm just writing it here. This is really the y, and this is really the x. Because a lot of people, when they give them these types of things, they just can't remember which one goes on the x and which one goes on the y. Just remember, the first letter is the y, that's the vertical axis, and the second letter is x, the horizontal axis. So in both cases here, the A comes before the B. Anytime you draw a graph where the phrase is directly proportional, you will always get a straight line. Always, always. And the line will always go upwards, but it will always be a straight line. Anytime it's indirectly proportional, a lot of people think it's a straight line going downwards because directly and indirectly are considered to be what? Opposites. But this is actually not true. An indirectly proportional graph actually looks like this. It's a curve gradually going downwards. Strange, huh? You don't have to know why. Yeah, you just have to be able to know the shapes of the graph. Don't take down anything as yet, okay? Now, whenever they use the phrase A is directly proportional to B, this is what they mean. A is equal to K multiplied by B. Obviously, there's a secret multiply between the K and the B, where K is your constant. Let me just refresh your memory on what the word constant means. Constant means never, ever changing. If somebody's constantly doing something, and every time you see them, they do the same thing over and over and over and over. So whenever you're given a directly proportional question, you will need to find the value of K first. Don't worry. I saw some of you are scratching your heads and like, but how am I going to find the value of K? I will show you how to find the value of K. But keep this in mind. Once you find the value of K, K will never, ever, ever change for the entire question. No matter if you scream at it, it don't matter if you hit it, no matter if you threaten it, it will never, ever change value. And anytime they say A is indirectly proportional to B, this is the equation they want you to remember. A is equal to K, but the second letter, which is B in this case, always goes underneath the B. And of course, K is a constant again. And your job will be to find K. And once you find K, it will never change for the question. Okay? Take down everything on the screen now. Now is the time to take down everything. And don't worry, any thing you're blurry about or not too sure about, you know I will explain it in detail for you. So don't get too worried as yet. Right? Let me know when you guys are finished. Right? So let's get to our first question here. Everyone write down the question. They said A is directly proportional to B. Now, if the examiner used common letters, you have to use common letters. You just can't change the common A to capital A. Whatever letters he give you, keep it exact in the question. Right? So A is directly proportional to B. They use the phrase directly proportional. And they said when A is 7, B is 28. Find the value of B when A is equal to 5, right? Take it down, and we'll work out this question together. Right, so this is what the examiner told us so far. And they use the phrase directly proportional. So they mean A is equal to what? K common B. And obviously there's a secret multiply between the K and the B. You can write in the multiply, I guess, right? No harm in putting it in. So everyone take down that, right? Because A came first, B came second, right? Whichever letter comes second, that is the one touching the key, always. Now, the first thing we have to do is try to find key. That's our first job, no matter what. Now, to find K, the examiner has to give you some information. He just can't expect you to magically find K just so. But look at the second sentence. The examiner says, when A is 7, you can be guaranteed that B is 28. But he didn't say it like that. It is exaggerated. So all you have to do now is replace A with 7, K, and he said when A is 7, at the same time, B is 28. You think you all could solve for K there using basic transposing skills? You want K on one side, everyone else on the other side, right? When you throw across a multiply, you get what? A divide, okay? The answer is not 4. Please do not send 4. The answer is not 4. Right? So let's finish this off. So we want to solve for K. So we want to keep K on one side. Doesn't matter which side. We just want everyone else on the other side. So when you throw across a multiply, you get what? A divide. Now the 28 is going underneath. Now a lot of people are sending the answer as 4, but that can't be correct because 7 divided by 28, the 7 on top, right? And you're going to get a quarter. Right, now I'm going to put 0.25, but we all know a quarter is the same thing as 0.25. If you want to put a quarter, not a problem, right? I'll put it here, or a quarter, right? Doesn't really bother me. Everyone take down that. Now, keep in mind, remember I said at the beginning of class, K is constant, which means from now on, no matter what, K is a quarter or 0.25. So we can hence, we're going to rewrite the equation now. Hence, A is equal to 0.25 multiplied by B. Right? You notice what I did? We have a nice value for K. Why call it K? We know the value of K now. So everyone replace K with 0.25. The majority of the question is finished. We're not done. I said the majority is finished. Let's read the last sentence. Find the value of B when A is 5. So you know what I want you to do now? Go back to the complete equation. They want you to find B when A is 5. In other words, replace A with 5. Look, I'm doing it here. Replace the A with 5, and everyone solve for B. It's almost the same thing. Get B on one side, everyone else on the other side. I'll give you a next hint. Throw across a multiply, you're going to get a divide. Right? 3 people have the correct answer. So the 0.25 is a multiply, throw it across, you're going to get what? A divide. Now, if you type in this on the calculator, 5 divided by 0.25, you will get 20. That's your final answer. B is equal to 20. Right? I know you all probably need more practice on this. Now, this is only a directly proportional question. I know some of you are probably saying, but how do you handle an indirectly proportional question or inversely proportional question? Word here, right? I don't know what I was thinking here, right? It's supposed not to be indirectly, sorry. It's supposed to be inversely. You can just update that word. Just do me that favor. Scratch off indirectly and put inversely, right? I think inversely do have a inversely, right? Slight mistake there. Sorry about that. Every 2 slides, we have a little game. So let me show you how the game goes. Each of these treasure chests contains money. At the end of class, we're going to see who has the most money. You all are going to vote. I will launch the poll just now. And you all are going to vote on a color of chest. Whichever one is the most popular color, you all get that chest. Whichever one is the least popular one in the votes, I will get that one. Right? So let's begin to vote here. Right? Yeah, right. So choose it on the polls, choose it on the polls. All right, guys. So the most popular color is blue. So you all get in the blue chest. And the least popular one is yellow. So I will be getting the yellow chest. Let's go and see what each chest contains. Red chest, $1,000. I get the yellow chest. Remember, you all kind of chose it for me indirectly. I get $5,000, which is the best price. So I'm up $5,000. You all get the blue chest. You all get $300. So they keep track of your money, guys, because I want to say I cheat. Hey, guys, you all can't tell me I cheat too. You all chose the least popular one by default. So, and you all chose blue. So, guys, I have $5,000. You all have $300. It's a good thing you didn't choose the green. The green was $1, and the purple is only $100. All right, let's get ready to move on. Let's get ready to move on. Everyone write down this one. C is inversely, which is, I guess inversely does have an E, my mistake, right? So C is inversely proportional to D. So this is an inversely proportional question. Take a few seconds, write it down, and we'll work out this one. So since it's an inversely proportional question, right? C is inversely proportional. So that means the K goes on top and the second letter goes underneath. Remember, that was the format that I gave you, right? C is inversely proportional to D. So in other words, the format of the formula, the initial formula, is a little bit different. No matter what, we need to find Mr. K. Let's find Mr. K. They gave us some information here. They said when C is 3, D is 8. So let's do that. They said when C is 3, so I'm going to replace Mr. C with 3. K is here, and they said at the same time D is 8. Now remember, 3 is obviously the same thing as 3 on 1. You think you all could cross multiply and solve for K? And once you figure out the value of K, it will never, ever, ever change for the rest of the question. Let's cross multiply and see. K by 1 is K. 3 by 8 is 24, right? So that means K is 24. Which means for the rest of the question, K will just be what? 24. So I could, adjust or update this formula. C is equal to Y called K. We know K is what? 24. And we have D. You think you all could complete the rest of the question? Find the value of C when D is 2. So I would suggest you go to the equation and replace D with 2, and that will work out the value of C. Now, from what I'm seeing here, right? This is the equation, This is the equation we're concentrating on, right? So we want to find C when D is supposed to replace with 2. So C is equal to 24, and the examiner is telling us, hey, throw away D and replace it with 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. We're finished. The value of C when D is 2 is 12. Right? So that's the end of that particular question. Right? If you got it wrong, I'll show you see where you went wrong. Everyone take down this question. Good luck with this one. So I think some people are mixing up which letter comes first and which letter comes second, but it's pretty easy. The first letter just always goes first. Whichever letter comes before the phrase directly, now this is directly proportional, and the second letter actually goes second, right? So you're writing it like this: E is equal to KF. How much people at least had that correct? E is equal to KF, right? You had the correct version of the formula. Great. So now we have to find K. Remember, K is the constant. We must find him. And the examiner will always give you some information. So when E is 3, F is 36. Let's replace some values. E, they told you, is 3, and F is 36. Now, this is where people are making a mistake. We're supposed to solve for K. So you throw across the multiply and you get a divide. But doesn't it 36 go underneath? Real people are telling me K is 12. Is that correct? I know you're seeing 3 and 36 and you see a divide. So spontaneously, I guess you say 12. But K is not 12, right? And we get in a fraction. We get in, if you reduce this, 3 into 3 is 1, 3 into 36 is 12. It's 1/12. And I know if you type in 1 over 12, you're going to get a reoccurring decimal. Please, you see, when you're getting a reoccurring decimal, the examiner will appreciate if you just use the fraction. So leave K as 1/12. Don't put it as 0.08, blah, 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 right? Leave it as 1/12. Right? Right. So, how much of you just want a chance to finish it from here now? Knowing that K is 1/12, go and replace K with 1/12 and finish the question. Let's see what you guys come up with. If you were correct up to here and you already submitted the answer, just sit back and relax. Now, let's replace the K with the value. Remember, we worked out the value of K, and we know K is 1/12. So I'm replacing K with 1/12, and then you have the multiply by F. Okay? Great. But by the way, does this F, like if we wanted to simplify this, does this F belong on top or does this F belong to the underneath when we're multiplying? If we have it like that, we replace the K with 112, but does the F belong on top or does the F really belong underneath? It really belongs on top, right? But we're leaving it like that for the time being. So they want us to find the value of F when E is 12. Now, couldn't we simplify it like this? Could we put the F on top and the 12 underneath? Is this the same thing as 1/12 to multiply by F? Is it the same thing? And the answer is yes, sir, right? No, it's the same. I know we did this some time ago, early on, I believe in September, somewhere around there, right? Now, let me just refresh your memory. If I have, this is my own made up example here. If I have 2/3 multiplied by M, and you see how M kind of in the middle, and you don't know whether it belongs on top or underneath, it's perfectly okay to write it like this. Put the M on top and the 3 underneath. You can only put the M on top. In other words, whenever you have something being multiplied, right? Whenever you have something being multiplied and it's in the middle, like it's the examiner is suggesting that it's in the middle, it actually belongs on top. And we know 1 multiplied by F is the same thing as F. There's no need to put 1 multiplied by F. All right. So that's a little kind of shortcut to, to make life easier. So now that we know this is the simplified version, we want to know the value of F when E is 4. So let's replace E with 4. And of course, we're trying to solve for F. 4 is the same thing as 4 on 1. Cross multiply and solve for F. Well, I'm supposed to work it out from here. F by 1 is F, because anything by 1 is itself. And 4 by 24 is 48. So for those who got 48, you guys are correct. Now remember, for the value of K, I used 1/12. I know some of you all still went ahead and used the decimal. Like, let me get my calculator here. 1 divided by 12 is, you would have seen this on your calculator, 0.0833 or something like that, right? Remember, if I was correct in an exam paper, and I see you change 1/12 to this, I'm gonna take away marks, because it's kind of like how you say, mathematical manners. Whenever you have a reoccurring decimal that goes on forever and ever, try not to use that. Use the fraction itself, right? So call it mathematical table manners, okay? So anyway, look for your mistakes. A lot of people are letting me know their mistakes. I appreciate that. And when you finish taking them, let me know. All right. So every 2 slides, we have this game here. All right. So you're ready to vote again. You can change your color of the chest now. Doesn't really matter, right? I get the least popular. You guys get the most popular. Begin the vote, guys. Let's see which one you all as a class will choose. So it seems the least popular one is yellow. So I'm getting a yellow chest again. And the most popular one is the purple. So you guys choose the last chest. Let's go ahead and see what each chest has. Red chest. Oh, the red chest was the good one. The red chest was $5,000. So none of us got that. I'm the yellow chest. So what did I get? Oh no, it seems I got the lose all chest. So I'm back down to $0, guys. I'm back to $0. You're teamed up against me. This is some kind of obeah or voodoo. Blue chest was $1,000. Green chest is $2. And the purple chest, you all get to multiply the amount of money you have right now by 3. So you all had $300 multiplied by 3. You all are up to $900. I don't know how somebody got a $2,000 by multiplying 300 by 3. All right? But you guys have $900 and I have $0. Let's go. So no more boasting for me for a little while. Right, so this one here is a little bit different, but write down the question and I'll give you a jump start on this question. G is directly proportional. That's good news. The directly proportional is the good one to the square root of h, not just h, but the square root of h. They said G is directly proportional to the square of h. Now I just say the square, if the word square root wasn't in the words, then it would have just simply been G is equal to KH. And it would have been like a real regular boring question from there, right? But they said the square root of h. So you have to put a little square root over the h. You think you all can take the question from there now? So remember, in maths, when you throw something across, it does always get the opposite, right? I just say it just in case it's necessary. I'm not too sure if it would play a part in the question. The opposite of a square root is squared. Square root and squared are opposites. Good luck. Take a right. Don't let the square root get to you guys. The aim is just to find what? K. So let's do that. They said when G is 18, H at the same time is 16. So let's do that. We have to just go to the formula. Anyway, you see the letter G, replace it with 18. We have K multiplied by the square root of H. Now, they said when G is 18, H is 16. So we're just going to replace Mr. H with 16. How much of you all at least had that? If you didn't, it's okay. Well, I just glad you try, right? Just try, right? It's better than just sitting down there and doing nothing, right? Try. Great. Now, some of you all are probably getting freaked out by that square root sign. But here's the thing. How much is the square root of 16? And the square root of 16 is 4. So that just means you get 18 is K. And we know from primary school, the square root of 16 is 4. You think you all could solve for K now? The square root not even there anymore. We used it up, square root in the 16 to get the 4. Throw across the multiply, get your divide. And once we get that value of K, like I said, K will remain that value forever. So take it from there. Let's see if you guys can finish it off from there. Let's see. The 4 is a multiply. You throw it across, you get a divide, right? So I assume that everyone getting that part correct by now. So 18 divided by 4 gives us a really, really nice decimal. And we don't even have to round off. It's really nice, 4.5, right? I saw that on the chat, right? A lot of people had that. All right, so let's get started now. We go to the equation. Remember, this is the equation. And guess what we can replace Mr. K with? Mr. K can be replaced with 4.5. So G is equal to 4.5 multiplied by the square root of H. Now, here's what the examiner is asking. What is the possible values of H when G is 2? So they want us to replace G with 2. Replace G with 2. And then we have the square root of H. So we're just going to try to solve for who? H, okay? Great. Take down up to there. We're just going to try to get H on one side and everyone else on the other side. Right. So when we throw across the 4.5, we get 2 divided by 4.5 is equal to the square root of H. 2 divided by 4.5. Just make sure you see it on the calculator. 0.44444444. Everyone seeing something crazy like that? Right. Right. You get now anybody knows that fraction off the top of your head? Like how you know 0.33333 is 1/3. Does anybody know how much is 0.444444? It's 4 nines. I don't know if you all remember that. Well, a lot of people don't know that, but I'll let you know. When you divide this again, 0.44 reoccurring. That's the same thing as 4 nines, right? And okay, here what? To be fair, a lot of people that's not a normal fraction. But in this class, how much decimal places we just go to? 2 decimal places, like if we have to round off. So let's go with 0.44. Let's stick to my own rules in class, right? Who is the last person to throw across now? Remember, we want to solve for Mr. H. I'm interested in having H alone on one side. I don't need that square root. So what's the opposite of a square root? In maths, when you throw something across, you always get the opposite. The opposite of a square root is a squared. Type in 0.44 squared on your calculator, and you will have your value of H. Right? So I know some people are saying you could use the fractions button on your calculator. Now you could, you definitely could, but I'm not going to do it in this class because I have a good feeling a lot of people, how this is a form 2, form 3 class now, like a lot of people don't know how to use that button. But if you know how to use your fractions button on your calculator, feel free. Anybody seen something like this? You can round it off to 2 decimal places and you get 0.19. You get 0.1936. So when you round it off, it's 0.19. And that's your final answer for today's class. Right? Remember once again, guys, the rules of this class is we try to go to 2 decimal places, right? If you want to go to 1, can't stop you, but I could see a teacher taking away marks. Try this one now. This is an inversely proportional one. It looks pretty normal to me. Doesn't seem to have any tricks. Good luck. So they said y is inversely, they use the phrase inversely. So that means the x goes underneath the k. First job, as usual, find k. They said that when y is 15, replace x with 4. Let's do that. Y here, replace with 15, x with 4. We obviously have to solve k. We know 15 is the same thing as 15 on 1, cross, multiply. 1 by k is k, and 15 by 4 is 60. All right, and a lot of people did send me this, huh? But if you didn't get k as 60, at least you know k is 60 now. See if you can finish off the rest of the question. Good luck. All right. So we have, let me replace the k with the 60. So y is equal, replacing this k with 60. 60 on x, right? So y is, they're asking the value of y when, oh, this one wasn't too hard. Now that we have x as 12, right? The answer is what? 5. Right? So the answer was 5. A couple of people got it wrong. If you just let me know if you saw this. All right. So let's get this over with. Let's see if I can beat you all at this game. All right. So you're ready to choose here once more? Good luck. All right. Poll is ending. All right. Now it seems that we have a tie for the most popular. A tie for the most popular. So how do we deal with a tie, right? It means that you all get the blue and the green, but whichever one is better, right? Whichever one is better, you all will get that one, right? So I put in that one, right? So it's blue and green, and which is the least popular one here, guys? It seems I will get the purple. So let's go, right? Red is 2,000. Yellow is 3. So it's a good thing I didn't get the yellow again. Blue is the, oh God, you're beating me here already. The blue one is 6,000. The green is lose all, but I know you're not going to choose the lose all. So you all get 6,000. And I get multiplied by 4, but I have $0. So 0 by 4. I'm still at 0, guys. And you all are up to $6,900. Seems I'm down in the gutter here. One first. Okay. Let me set you up with this one first. X is inversely, right? Let's set you up here, right? Just one, guys. I just want to see one thing here. All right. So I'm answering this question for the last time, right? All right. When it comes to decimal places, guys, right? Stick to 2, right? Just keep it simple. Stick to 2. Now, sometimes in the exam, sometimes you have to read it properly. Sometimes they say go to 1 decimal place. Now, if the exam paper, the CXC exam paper, right, say, hey, go to 1 decimal place, well, fine, you have to obey that instructions. But by default, you always go to 2, right? K, now inversely, K goes in top, and the square root of Y. Does that make sense? Do I have it correct? Or should I do something? Am I trying to trick you guys? Am I trying to, does that look correct? It's correct. I'm not trying to trick you. All right, so that's a big help there. Go ahead and see if you can finish it from there. And once again, don't let square root get to you. You could square root a value on the calculator. And also, if you happen to need to throw across square root, you're going to get what? Squared. That is all it is, right? So x is 12, all right? And y is the square root, but sorry, the formula says the square root of 9 of y, sir. But y is 9. Okay? So let's see what happens here. We have 12 we are continuing up here, obviously. Now, the square root of 9, we know this from primary school. The square root of 9 is what? 3. So we cross multiply. Now, a lot of people said the answer was 108, but that's not correct because remember the formula said, hey, you have to replace y with 9. So I did, but the formula says also now you have to square root 9, and we know the value of square root 9, which is 3. All right. So k by 1 is k. 12 by 3 is 36. You don't want a chance to finish it from there because real people thought k was 108, but k is 36. So here what? Take a minute again and see if we can finish off the question with the correct value of k. Right. So this is what we could do now. X is equal to k. Remember, we just worked out k as 36, so we can throw away that 36 and put it at the square root of y. I'm going to assume that we at least have that, okay? Now, they want to know the value of x when y is 81. All right, so let's do that. Let's replace y with 81. 36. And remember, we have a big square root here, and they're telling us, hey, replace y with 81. How much is the square root of 81 from primary school, right? Oh, God. Actually, I don't know. How much is the square root of 81? I really don't know. Oh, yes, 9. Let's finish that talking. I do know. Sorry, my mind got scrambled there for a few minutes. Right. So we put in 9 here. So that means x is 36 divided by it's 4. And the answer is 4, right? So for those who got it wrong, they just, take a look at the working, make sure you understand it, clarify with me on the chat. Hey, I understand it, right? All right, try this one. Y is inversely proportional to the cube of x, right? Now, let me just set you up with that one, right? The cube, that's like how you can have squared, you have cubed. So they said inversely. So y is equal to k is inversely proportional to the cube of x. So it's just x to the power 3. In case you can't remember what cube means, it's just to the power 3. Once you have the equation, find k first. You might have to cross multiply, right? Good luck. So again, a lot of questions on this one, but don't worry, you'll see how I'll work it out, right? So hopefully me working it out will answer the majority of the questions. So let's find k. And they told us y is 250, and at the same time, x is 0.2. So we're just going to replace y with how much? Y with 250 is equal to k, and x at the same time is 0.2. But the examiner says we have to do what? Cube it. Right, so we have 250. How much is 0.2 cubed? 0.2, in case you don't know how to find 0.2 cubed, it's 0.2 multiplied by 0.2 multiplied by another 0.2. Remember, squared means it multiplies something twice by itself. Cube means it multiplying the same thing 3 times. 0.2 multiplied by 0.2 multiplied by 0.2. Anybody saw this on a calculator? 0.008. Right? Angela, check it back. Check it back. Check it back. Type in 0.2 multiplied by 0.2 multiplied by 0.2. Type it in just like that on the calculator. 0.2 by 0.2 by 0.2. Nathan, check it back. Something's wrong with your calculator. You probably type in 2 by 2 by 2. This is 0.2, right? 0.2 is different from 2. All right. Well, if you're not seeing it on a calculator, just take my word for it. It's 0.008, right? Let's cross multiply. K by 1 is K, and take 250 now and multiply it by that 0.008. 250 multiplied by 0.008. I'm getting K. Look at what is nice value we get for K. K just boil down to what? 2. So let's update the equation. Y is equal to, how much is K now? K, we can replace it with 2. And the rest of the formula is x cubed. Right. Find the value of y when x is 0.5. Just go and replace x with 0.5. Don't forget to cube it and work out this, and you will get Mr. Y. You should at least be able to do that piece, right? So try your best to send an answer. Right, let's replace it here. 2, replace x. Remember they said replace x with 0.5, so it's 0.5 cubed. In case you 0.5 cubed is 0.5, multiply by 0.5, multiply by 0.5. Make sure you're seeing this on your calculator. Let me type it in. 0.5 multiply by 0.5, multiply by 0.5. I'm getting 0.0125. And when you take 2 and divide it by this, 2 divided by 0.12, I'm getting 16. And the majority, a lot of people came in the end and said the answer was 16. The answer was 16.